Please welcome Michael Enten.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Michael Enten, and I'm from a Jewish middle-class family in Washington, D.C. And like many good Jews before me, food has been a large part of my life. From matzo ball soup to corned beef with pastrami on rye, latkes and challah, especially bagels, any family event wasn't worth going to without a nice spread. Sorry, Mom and Dad. This boil and bake bagel restaurant was actually the first restaurant I worked at outside of school. It's where I learned the ins and outs of the restaurant business. In fact, food has been a really important part to the Jewish community for a really long time. At the turn of the 20th century, millions of Eastern European Jews immigrated to the United States in search of a better life. When they got here, they had to go through terrible working and living conditions, all in the name of providing for themselves and their family. Food, however, was a way that they could connect with their sense of home and nostalgia, and as they brought over bagels and other delicacies and introduced them to New York City. Fun fact, Lox bagels were a kosher alternative to Eggs Benedict. And well, as life happens, 7 years ago, I met and fell in love with a girl from Bogota, Colombia, and she introduced me to the wonderful world of Latin American and rounded breads, like arepas and buñuelos, pan de yucas, and pan de bonos. But every Sunday, I got that craving. Bagels, right? I started looking around and realized that I didn't have any. There was one, but it just wasn't that good. Didn't really do it for me, and apparently for a lot of other people as well, right? So the idea was born. Enten's Bagels. At this time, I also started to realize that the restaurant scene in Bogota was exploding. I mean, there are 2 cereal restaurants that opened in the same 6 months of each other in the same neighborhood, too. There are also plenty of American-style restaurants that are popping up all over Bogota. So I began to do some research, right? If I'm going to do this, I kind of got to figure out what really makes a New York bagel truly New York. Some people say that the closest bagel is the best bagel and that there are no bad bagels, but I could show you a bagel around the corner that's really, really bad. Some people say it's the water, like, oh, bagels are famous in New York City because of the water. I don't buy it either. I've had plenty of shitty bagels in New York City. And now not all bagels are on par with the ones you've seen on the screen, but what I did come to realize in my research is that fresh is best, right? If you're gonna be making bagels the day of, or even better on site, you already have a leg up. Secondly, the devil's in the details. If you're gonna really convey New York City, you need help from everywhere. The ancillary things that you sell, or the materials that you use, or even the ephemera on the walls. And third, most importantly, New York City is an attitude. From the tone of voice or the interaction between the cashier and the customer, New York City needs to be everywhere. So I had a mission, right? I'm bringing bagels to Bogota, but what I'm really doing is I'm bringing New York City to Bogota. So what better way to do that than to start looking at the organized chaos that is the New York City subway system. I created a system, one that's informative and gets stronger as the more information is applied. It could be stretched or contracted, and it plays off duality. It has a hint of color that anybody who's been to New York City is familiar with. It could be blown up or it could be isolated. And I mean, have you ever had a bacon, egg, and cheese when you're hungover? It really could be a religious experience. So why Bogota? In a city of 8 million people, Colombia is one of the strongest markets in Latin America. Of that 8 million people, 800,000 of them have a disposable income and are mostly centralized in the north of the city. From that group, the 18 to 44-year-old age range is the largest working group within that workforce, and they're going to be my target audience. So I have a 3-part plan to roll out my business and to gain traction. The first phase I call the MVP stage, is where I'll test my menu at pop-ups, collaborations at different cafes and restaurants, catered breakfasts at offices like the new WeWork that just opened, and different food fairs. I'll be making a website as a point of reference for my customers to figure out everything from menu and catering options and the team. I'll have a strong social media presence to keep them engaged with everything bagels and everything on the day-to-day schedule. I'll also begin to use targeted marketing to attract new customers. Plus, I'll have created different assets to be worn at these events to maintain brand continuity. The second phase is what I call the soft opening. And by that, what I mean is we're looking for strategic locations to open a small grab-and-go shop near a heavily foot-trafficked area to introduce bagels further into the market. Currently, we're looking at La Javeriana, which is a private university of about 25,000 full-time students and staff walking around at any given time. Here's a small representation of what the inside of the shop will look like, and here's some assets you see in that small restaurant. We're also planning on building an app to facilitate convenient quick-and-go ordering, plus we're planning on taking over the city with physical marketing. The third phase and the real manifestation of Enten's Bagels is the flagship restaurant, which will eventually be used as a model for further franchising. Here's a photo of the storefront. And the layout of the store is designed to have more seating, with a window into the kitchen to see how the bagel is made, and it's loosely based off a New York City subway platform. It's meant to create more of an experience and transport the audience to New York City through small details and through interior design. The floor will have hexagonal tiles reminiscent of New York City's delis. The walls will have New York City subway tiles, and subway lights, and pops of wood to create a more humanistic feel, all pulled together to create something hip and inviting. We also have our own product line to be sold alongside bagels to further represent the restaurant's Jewish heritage. And I'm currently working with a team on the ground here in New York City and also in Bogota to finalize recipes, create the administrative structures, and to create more a localized marketing approach. The first pop-up is scheduled for this year in September, and I hope to see all of you guys there. If you can't make it, I encourage all of you to check us out online and sign up to our newsletter to stay up to date with everything bagels. Thank you very much.